Despite the decline in originality and storytelling in the recent past, Marvel and DC have picked up pace with the Fantastic Four and Superman. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. After the mind-numbing stagnation of the past half a decade, Marvel and DC are taking leaps toward the evolution of comic book live-action movies once more. Adaptations of Marvel's first family, the Fantastic Four, First Steps, and DC's first superhero Superman are now at the front and center of the CBM industry, and the fans are getting their money's worth for the neglected past. However, it's not simply the timely arrival of Fantastic Four and Superman to the MCU and DCU that is being appreciated, but their storylines are being hailed as one of the best arcs to date. With a powerful cast driving each CBM vehicle forward and a celebrated director steering the well-oiled machines, the fans have already witnessed a change for the better in MCU and DCU's future. There would be no Clark without Lois and no Peter Parker without MJ, and it is this very concept of their age-old and time-worn romance that Marvel and DC are bringing back to the vision board. The trailers of both upcoming films, The Fantastic Four, First Steps and Superman, have leaned into this arc, and the audience could not be more grateful for it. Directed by Matt Shakman, known for Fargo and Game of Thrones, The Fantastic Four, First Steps shines the spotlight on the romance between Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards aka Mr. Fantastic and Vanessa Kirby's Sue Storm aka Invisible Woman, an arc that was put on the back burner in the previous iterations of the IP under 20th Century Fox. James Gunn's Superman does something similar by pulling David Corenswet's Clark Kent and Rachel Brosnahan's Lois Lane into a tangential arc of romance that builds the foundation for DC's power couple's long and enduring life together, even through world-ending threats and bloody battles. With nothing more to lose, the twin crown jewels of the comic book industry, Marvel Cinematic Universe and DC Universe, are set to rebuild their lost reputation from scratch after the fiasco that landed them in hot water. The poor reception of the recent MCU and DC films, The Marvels, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and so on, almost had the fans calling for Marvel and DC's early retirement. The continued decline in content quality, bad cinematic execution, drab graphics, spotty VFX, and derivative storylines branded the superhero genre with a mark of shame. After a much-needed break, DC is back at it as James Gunn takes the initiative to rebuild the whole universe from scratch. Marvel, in the meanwhile, goes back to its roots by bringing the Fantastic Four into the fold and planning the X-Men reboot within the MCU after the completion of the multiverse saga. DC's die-hard fans are tired of the realistic Batman in the movies and want something more fantastical, like the comics and animations. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. When thinking of superheroes, action movies are usually the first thing that comes to mind. But not all of them stick to just that, especially when it comes to Batman. In the DC universe, he often leans into a more fantastical side, bringing in real fights and stepping away from the super-realistic style that many adaptations have gotten used to. The general public has gotten used to a more serious, even somewhat monotonous image of Batman, making it rare to see him like he is in the comics or animated universe. But could that change anytime soon? With DC's new direction, there's hope that James Gunn will bring adaptations that feel more true to what fans are eager to see. When superhero comics started making their way to the big screen, a lot shifted in the scene. Over the years, fans have witnessed numerous changes with many characters, often influenced by the direction of the films or the decisions made by producers and screenwriters. A prime example of this is Watchmen, which took a different approach than many expected. However, discussing the classic Batman is a bit more complicated. In films that have become iconic, like Christian Bale's The Dark Knight trilogy and Robert Pattinson's The Batman, audiences have seen a version of the hero that feels super real. While these takes have been interesting, fans are now craving something a little different. It feels like people are starting to get tired of watching the same version of Batman, one that has remained largely unchanged since the 2000s. With a new generation of fans emerging, maybe it's time for a fresh take. This conversation is already buzzing on social media, especially following James Gunn's announcement about the new phase of the DCU. When Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, directed by Zack Snyder, hit theaters, fans could get a taste of something different, especially with the intense fight scene in the warehouse. However, many viewers are eager to see the superhero taken to an even greater level, similar to his portrayal in the DCAU. When thinking about it, this aesthetic and more realistic tone that has become so familiar might have been a strategy to attract a broader audience, those who enjoy blockbuster hero films but aren't necessarily fans of the genre itself. It's almost like trying to fit Batman into a box to ensure commercial success. Whether it's in superhero movies or any adapted film, people want authenticity and loyalty to the source material. Gunn appears to be aware of this demand and has already hinted at what's in store for the new phase of the DCU. Maybe the audience's wishes will finally come true. In 2022, the CEO of DC Studios answered a fan's question online about the iconic character. Following Snyder's film, Batman made a return with Pattinson, but that production was separate from the main universe, similar to Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. However, according to Gunn, Batman will play a significant role moving forward. Narratively, Gunn appears to be heading in the right direction. To attain the consistency and success that the MCU has achieved, for example, he'll need to take on a supervisory role like Kevin Feige's, closely overseeing each project to ensure a cohesive vision. This approach would allow for a deeper exploration of Batman's dynamics with other heroes, particularly within the Justice League context. Gunn has also promised to create a universe with connections between films, series, animations, and even video games. With these developments, it's safe to say that there are real hopes for a superhero portrayed in a more fantastical setting. It's important to note that Matt Reeves' The Batman Part 2 is in the works, and the director has hinted that the sequel will also have fantastical elements, though not completely detached from reality. However, this could offer a fresh opportunity for those who are open to exploring a different take on the hero story. Would have been a good fit if it wasn't for James Gunn's choice of younger actors for DCU roles. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Casting for Batman is not an easy task, especially for an iconic legacy character, and this is why it is taking ages for James Gunn to find the right actor for the job. Interestingly, fans already have their bet for the role and have been campaigning hard and suggesting it to the head of DC Studios. Some of the past actors who have donned the cape were Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, and Robert Pattinson, among others. There's been a handful of names being thrown across the room for the potential next Batman star, but as to who will snag the coveted role remains the mystery. With the revamp of the former DCU empire into James Gunn's DC universe, the entire legacy of the major flagship characters will also be renewed. Superman will have a younger actor in his early 30s, with David Corenswet taking on the mantle of the Man of Steel. If that's the case, will Batman be around the same age? The DC boss clarified on Threads the issue about Bruce Wayne's age in the upcoming The Brave and the Bold. A fan asked Gunn if Wayne would be a couple of years older than Clark Kent, and his response was, "What I said was Bruce could be a couple years older than Clark. All I meant was I wasn't tied to Bruce and Clark being the exact same age." For now, Batman may be around in his early to mid-30s based on Gunn's statement, which also means he might be looking for actors in the same age bracket. Superman being the same age as Corenswet is the basis for this. Now, fans should consider this when fan casting their favorite actors for the role to avoid disappointment. On Twitter, a poll asked who the best Batman fan cast actor is, and many chose Supernatural star Jensen Ackles. Check out their tweets below.